Hello. It's been a while, but we're back with some analysis. Today we're going to be talking about Dabuz beating Acola, one of the biggest stories of Smash Ultimate Summit. Dabuz not one of the favorites to win. Meanwhile, Acola is the person that everyone prepared for, including Dabuz, because Dabuz did beat Acola. Of course, we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting topics such as conditioning. They won't expect the 6. That's exactly what I mean, girl. It's like, you could be that guy. Maybe you are that dude. You are that dude who will roll 6 times in a row. I can punish 5 rolls in a row, and then that dude is waiting for me, and he's looking to roll a 6th time. And much more. Jokes aside, we're just going to go in depth. We're going to be talking about a lot of different topics that play into this. The first game, I wasn't super happy about Dabuz's play. You'll see why. But then the second game that we look at, he really shapes up, and I think that really goes to show how much preparation can do for you, and it will teach you a lot about what you can do to beat Steve. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Doing that lets me know that you want to see more of this. And for now, let's get into today's video. It's going to be Dabuz versus Acola at Smash Ultimate Summit. Oh, and at the end of every video, I'll be doing a fun fact now. If you're looking forward to that, be sure to stay tuned because, you know, they're fun. They're facts. All right, guys, enjoy the video.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
Trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
What I think is very important is that we focus on how Dabuz in this matchup denies Steve from mining. That's like the most important thing in this matchup. It's something I talk about a lot when I talk about Steve. It's kind of like the idea of setting pressure without committing or setting up pressure without committing. And I think Dabuz in general, I don't think he's very naturally very strong at doing that. I think he's good at being very defensive. He's also good at mixing in aggression, but constant pressure is not really his forte. But Rosalina is really good at that type of play style because Luma allows her to put pressure on the opponent without being there. The thing about Rosalina that makes her good, in my opinion, is imagine if we have a stage, right? And let's say, you have one player, they're both fighting for center stage. If I want to get stage control, I need to commit forward. I need to dash forward, right? Moving forward inherently has a lot of risk because you're moving towards someone. You're not actionable for a couple of frames, or you have to hard commit, like doing, for example, a jump or a dash attack, which are both committal things to do. So forward movement is just extremely committal. However, the Luma lets you claim stage control without being there yourself. So that's the biggest thing that I think is important for Rosalina players. And I think in turn it's also very potent against Steve because Steve kind of functions off of capitalizing on that inherent risk that advancing forward has. The thing about Acola is that he often just he is willing to just play with very low resources, which is something that I've talked about a lot in Steve. Playing Steve more is a close quarter character. However, his close quarter risk reward, while still good, it's just not on the same level. It's just not on the same level as a Shoto. He needs his resources to make it that viable. And Acola willing to to play around with low resources. It's strong because people are not used to it, but now that people are super prepared for it, because I think something that I think is very fair to say is that Acola is the player that people prepare for most in this tournament. I think everyone prepared the most for Acola, and the reason for that is very simple, right? He is the storyline right now, right? You have Acola, the Japanese prodigy, coming out of nowhere, beating people up. People want to defend the US. People want to show that they can beat Steve. People are very prepared for Steve. People are very prepared for Acola. So in that sense, I can imagine that something that used to be a bit of a boon due to the surprise factor is now a little bit less of a positive, or could be. We've yet to see. Okay, let's get into game number 4. So we're going to be grabbing one game from every set, and then we'll see if we have more time to do more analysis. Okay, immediate good positioning by Dabuz. Ooh, that's interesting. So normally Acola's pretty aggressive about people contesting wall, but I guess in this situation, he doesn't have to be every single time. Acola also likes to craft early, though I think this is a cancel for the sake of baiting, which of course, it doesn't really make sense if the opponent's already in the air. Pressure is set up. Acola fights out with the minecart, but 3 hits of this Luma Star Bits actually destroy minecart. That's a huge part of the matchup. Let's continue watching. I love this awareness by Dabuz. I'm just gonna highlight. Sorry guys. Oof. I'm just gonna highlight this because this is a nice little bit of knowledge. Dabuz realizes that Steve still gets forward movement or still gets, still is actionable after you destroy the minecart and decides to roll back. I like that. Very good awareness by Dabuz. Okay. Acola playing close quarters like he usually does. Now actually creates the stone tool. I get why. So for those of you who don't know, this stage is a stone stage, which means that you don't get any dirt or even wood, which means that stone, like you can make a stone tool and make it pretty like worth your while because you're going to get the stone back anyway. Whereas on other stages, like, you might want to wait until you have like, until you get to craft an iron weapon or even, just like diamond or gold. But I get the decision making. Okay. Acola, good out of shield. Dabuz playing very aggressive. Okay. Bad reaction by Dabuz. Ooh, very aggressive. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So far Dabuz not really doing too well. Doesn't deal more damage, but it does have better durability. Are the damage numbers the exact same? That's something I actually never really reflected on. Fist, wood, stone. Okay, so stone is a bit of a damage increase. It is a bit of a damage increase. Fist, wood, stone. Yeah, it's the same damage increase between stone and iron. So the damage is higher. But oftentimes the safety should be about the same because, the damage is not that much higher. Every tool has equal frame data. They do have equal frame data, but they have different like frame advantages on shield because the damage numbers are different, right? So that's important to keep in mind. So something that I really like from Dabuz's patterns, if you look at the way he's positioning himself, what you see is that like, well, for one, he kind of struggles to beat the minecart, which is, a little bit of fatigue, I can only assume. But even here, he jumps and then he gets to the ground ASAP so he can set up a juggle. Kind of like baiting Acola to use air airs and then anti-airing Acola for doing that, which is good because Steve doesn't have the best fast fall, right? Advantage on hit. Oh, that makes sense. So baiting these air airs and then punishing. Saw that once, and I think we see him do it again. Let's see. Yeah, we'll see more of it. If I'm correct, and if I'm not correct, then I learned something new. I really don't. Okay, I really don't like how Dabuz is playing the neutral, honestly. Okay. Nice. Minecart again. Lots of minecarting from Acola, and it's working every so often. I think minecart heavy gameplay is something we're going to see less and less of as the meta develops, honestly. Okay. Yep, there's the dash check. So far, Acola kind of just dominating, not going to lie. Okay. Ooh, can negate it down air. That's big. What's up, Hugo? Oh, shit. Hugo, what was your favorite set during Summit? Okay, we get the jab pressure. Do you have an explanation on why Acola is very consistent with landing his anvils? He's not very consistent in landing his anvils, actually, in my opinion. He just throws out a lot. What's up, Kevin? He just uses so much anvil that generally it hits a lot. Also uses footstool out of shield, which is obviously like a really good way to land your anvils. But like in this game so far, we haven't really seen the anvils work out in like ledge traps or juggles. I think in neutral, well, does he really land a lot of them in neutral? He doesn't really go for them outside of footstool anvil, does he? We'll see if it happens this game. Okay. Okay, kill Luma. Good. This is a smart thing. This is something you can copy from Acola. Hit Luma. Then Rosa is generally going to try to try to aggress on you. Because like what you can do is you can hit Luma like this, and then chase after her and then kill her, right? So what a lot of Rosas do is they kind of land and then they're like, oh shit, I need to get in and save my Luma. So in this situation, Acola hits the Luma and then immediately focuses back on the buzz. Very, very smart. Very, very smart. I like that. You miss 100% of the shot you don't take. The thing about Acola is like, that's why you see him low on resources, is because he takes a lot of shots. And that's where I think a bit of the that's where I think he lost a lot of the games in at Summit personally, and we'll see him play a little bit later. I think we have him against Light as well. Like the thing about Acola is that he's willing to just like spray and pray like a madman, and the better people get against Steve, the worse that's going to get. And this is stuff that I've been talking about since the release, right? Where this character is an extreme knowledge check, an extreme skill check, an extreme execution check. But once you clear all of those, his resulting mix-ups are relatively limited. And that is where you see, that's where you see people beat Acola. I'm really curious. What's up, Tyson? How you doing? Hope you're doing as well, man. I'm really curious to see how Dabuz wins this. Because so far, like in every level, I don't really see him do too well. Okay. I guess that's a kill confirm. Acola throws a forward smash like a madman. I don't think so. I think that's more of a Jake thing. Yep, there's the minecart again. Like, we talked about how Mutace plays against Steve, and I think Mutace is like, when Mutace plays his game plan well, he's like one of the best players in the world against Steve. And if we compared it to what we're seeing here, it's just like the distances that Dabuz is holding on to, they don't make sense versus minecart. And again, Acola, he's just willing to shoot, right? He's just shooting at the minecart every single time. Yeah, Hollow Bastion is not a good look. See, this is bad. I'm just gonna say this is not a good thing to do. Look at this. Minecart. Steve is landing on you. You're stuck in down B lag. Like, if this was not a double jump, I don't think Acola would have gotten a punish, but you definitely get like a really advantageous mix up here. So like the absorb seems very powerful, but I think it's a lot more situational than it seems to be. And Acola probably doesn't have that much Rose experience and probably doesn't know like, okay, when is the absorb actually punishable? And when is the absorb or the gravitational pull, whatever you want to call it, when is it actually punishable? And when, when should I disengage? And I think he opts to disengage for the sake of safety in these situations, which is important. I think like I say this very casually, but this is like one of the most important things that you can do in the game. It's like, okay, when I'm unsure, I'm not going to commit. Being able to do that, very, very hard to do. Very, very hard to do, and very, very powerful if you can do it. So now we see the stone walls. Again, minecart just working out, and he dies. How does Dabuz win? Uh-oh. Yeah, minecart has very little lag. Oh, jeez. Yeah, yep. You catch Steve without materials. So let's take a look, right? Here he gets all of his materials back. And then he gets a kill out of it as well. Right? Which happens here. What's up, Anki? Gets more materials and then builds this entire wall, which is a huge material sink. What happened? Hang on. Oh, the minecart rails actually took up some of the materials as well. Look at the minecart rails. Here he starts placing the rails. Look at that. That's like 3 stone gone in an instant. I was surprised, but that makes sense. Crafting table respawn also took resources. Yeah, it respawned right here. Also took a huge chunk. And then he brute forces with iron. And then here, he brute forces with iron. And then here, he brute forces with iron. And now he has no iron. Because he also used an iron block. So, like, this is Acola's, like, this is the thing. And this, like, I hate to be that guy, but I've been saying this, dude. I've been saying this. Like, the way Acola plays, it is hard to play against because you need to be very patient, which Dabuz is doing very well. But once you weather the storm, like what is left? And when I looked at Acola play, I looked at him play versus Shuton. I think Zachary Joker, and we looked at how it was Shuton's Steve against Zachary Joker, and Shuton Steve is very different than Acola, because what Shuton Steve does is Shuton Steve basically always holds on to like 1 or 2 pieces of iron and never uses the last one. But like, that's kind of the same as using all of them if you know that is like a tendency, right? But there's a little bit more uncertainty. But in this case, like, you can see like horrible fundamentals come out. Like this, like, honestly, this is a horrible double jump, right? Because like, in this situation, like double jumping this way, that's just like jumping into the beast's mouth, right? Like you're jumping into into the buzz. So what you want to do here is maybe like fast fall air dodge to the ledge, or double jump straight up, or maybe even double jump away, or not double jump at all and just take the forward air, right? Which is fine because you still have your double jump afterwards, and you have Elytra, which is which has a lot of hitboxes. Jumps forward, gets baited extremely well by the buzz, and then just hard punish. Like, and the reason for this, like. And I know like Acola used to play all these other characters, and these other characters are all, you know, like blah blah blah. He used to play. I think he was a Luigi player. Point being, his disadvantage with Steve is very reliant on materials, and he kind of struggles without them, which I think is rare, because if I look at the Japanese meta, the one thing that I think they always do well is that their disadvantage is always like clean. It's very hard to find like major mistakes in any of the Japanese disadvantages. And I think that's what makes them so consistent. Okay. Diamond. Resources. Yep. Okay, Luma dies. No, he messed up the combo. That would have been huge if he killed Luma there. Okay, it's fine. Okay, Acola, just camp. So now you have like a conundrum as Steve between like, oh, do I want to camp or do I want to pressure Rosa for not having Luma? This is so bad. Oh my god, look at this. Look at this. So Acola very smart here, throws out a good minecart during the buzz's movement, forcing a jump basically. So the buzz in the air with one of the slowest falling characters in the game, you know, outside of like Jigglypuff, who, you know, has a lot of airspeed and double jumps, has to land against some of the best sharking. Does not get punished on landing. Forced into the air again. Does not get punished on landing. And now Luma's back. So Acola, like, Acola's advantage state seems to be, like, I don't know if this is a Steve thing, because Steve does have a relatively lackluster juggle game. Acola's just not really holding on to these advantages very well. Good mixes by the buzz though, honestly. Minecart again. Dude, the buzz is getting hit by so much basic Steve stuff. I have no idea how he's keeping it this competitive. Oh my god. No, Acola, don't double jump there. No, you're... Oh, okay. Jesus. Got hit by minecart again. Minecart again. Oh, that's a shame. Good grab by Acola. Last iron, minecart again. There's no way. Again, dude, look at this. The buzz forced to jump, stuck in the air, gets to land, and even gets to pressure Steve. Forced to jump, again, totally fine. Yeah, Rosa can push Luma through a lot of gaps. Yeah. Oh, no punish. Is that kill? That kills. You're crazy. Why would you craft while the charges go? That is so... Is Acola just like hard autopiloting? Because like the charge starts... Like you can see Luma angry on this frame. This is 245.70. And he gets hit more than a full second. More than a full second. That is crazy. This is like the craziest autopilot craft. Acola does say he struggles to stay composed. That wouldn't make sense. He probably thought Anvil would block it. Really? I mean, maybe. Possibly not looking at it. Looks like he has this kind of like pattern of like, okay, Anvil as like a wall and then like craft, and he didn't consider the fact that, oh well, I mean, Luma Shock kind of like ruins that like sequence. He probably wasn't aware, but he died at 87 center stage. That's crazy. 87 center stage. Honestly, Ramses' feedback on Acola's play is funny. I don't mean to bash Acola because like he's coming all the way to the US. He's playing against some of the best in the world. Like losing is no shame at all. But I do think like if I look at Acola's play, there's a lot of gaps that are abused decently well by Dabuz. But if I look at Dabuz's play, there's a lot of gaps that like I have like honestly I have very little idea how he got this far. He got a wicked down air up smash to kill him at like 100, a little bit over. Then he got a forward smash on a resourceless Steve, and then he got a and then he got the neutral B fully charged at 87. So in that sense, he got a lot of like early kills, and at the same time like. He did not really get juggled, so Acola kind of dropped the ball there at times. A lot of like just getting hit by minecart again and again and again. Really surprising to me because like I feel like Rosalina on paper should be one of the characters that suffers the most from getting hit by minecart because like most characters can just like, oh, I got hit by minecart, fast fall to the ground. Or I got hit by minecart, jump to a platform. But Rosalina is so floaty and her double jump is so floaty and her full hop is so floaty that like I imagine just a stray hit can lead to a lot of punishment, but in this case, not really. I will say, give like in context of this matchup, like the cooldown that Luma has is less impactful because Steve doesn't really succeed in terms of setting up pressure. That's something that I think is very, very important. Because so like she basically always gets to play with Luma, which is big, but maybe things that happened in the previous. But a lot of these situations are also just like. And I don't mean to be an authority on like top level play because you know who really is outside of like you know someone like Leo and even then like is Leo good at phrasing his experiences and thoughts, right? But I do think a lot of these decisions are just like objectively wrong decisions, like autopiloting crafting while neutral beast charging, which is reactable. You can even cancel the craft and shield, right? Positioning to counter minecarts in neutral and advantage state, which is one of the most key things and something that Dabuz does do well, like every so often, but then like also entirely forgets just as often. Acola using double jumps is at really, really bad positions, right? And like, yes, you can like, okay, so here's the thing, right? I think conditioning is like one of the stupidest ways to look at the game, in my opinion, because I think you cannot realistically condition someone unless they're willing to be conditioned, which makes sense, but like put it this way, right? Your actions are your own. So you cannot like condition someone to act in a certain way if they are aware of their actions, which you should be when you're playing Smash. The way I look at it is that is more like, okay, well, when you like, let's say you establish a lot of grabs, then someone can decide to continually take the grab, which is a decision, or they can decide to start doing something else. But even within that spectrum, there's a lot of things that you can do, right? You can roll in, you can jump, you can spell dodge, you can attack. So like, are you conditioning them to do something while you're conditioning them to not shield? But are you really like what is the result, right? So in a lot of cases, it's less so, oh, I'm conditioning them, and more so like I'm establishing a good option and let's see how they react, right? So for example, let's looking at like a bad jump from Acola. Like I'm not saying, oh, well, Dabuz's pressure conditioned Acola to jump there. No, Dabuz's pressure stopped Acola from entering that space in that manner. But the thing that he did instead, which is the bad double jump, is not because Dabuz closed off that area. It's because that's what Acola wanted to do. He could have decided to just take the forward air and just been totally fine. And I mean well, not totally, but I mean like a lot more fine than he was jumping forward. Let's put it that way. And that would have been cool. That would have been entirely cool. Or he could have jumped another way, or he could have fast fall air dodge. There were a lot of things he could have done, but he was not conditioned to jump there. He was conditioned to, he was punished for doing, like a very specific thing. So in that sense, like conditioning, I think I understand why people talk about conditioning, and there are situations where conditioning are like where conditioning is like very exact. Like let's say you get a tech chase, right? Like you punish roll in like 5 times, they're gonna stop rolling in. That's like conditioning. You punish a normal get up 5 times, they're gonna stop normal get upping. That's like that. But situations are almost never that limited that you can talk about conditioning in such a straightforward way, especially in the context of just the best of 5. Like if we're talking about someone like 2 players playing like 10 sets, like there's conditioning going on, sure. But in the concept of like a single set, there's not enough information. That's incredibly surprising. It's just that like it's a bit of semantics, but I think it's important semantics. Yo, Fiendish, thank you for the resub, man. 21 months. Looking forward to sitting down with you again soon, man. Looking forward to it for sure. So, yo, what's up, Dark? How you doing? How you doing? We haven't sat down in a hot minute. But yeah, like I think Acola just kind of like just dominated the game very, very well. Died to the wicked downer up smash, which was weird. I don't know why he was acting there. And then Dabuz making an insane comeback with the forward smash, and then we had basically a last hit game where Dabuz got an early KO. I'm gonna look at one more game because I am interested to see how they play in game one. It's really interesting to let yourself be in a bad spot to condition a behavior from your opponent. There's a lot of things you can do. They won't expect the 6. That's exactly what I mean, girl. I was like, you could be that guy. Maybe you are that dude. You are that dude who will roll 6 times in a row. I can punish 5 rolls in a row, and then that dude is waiting for me, and he's looking to roll a 6th time. And that's fine. Dude, if you are that dude, that's fine. And that's why I don't believe in conditioning. It's just adaptation. Was doing some house cleaning. Dude, good. Getting that stuff out of the way is important, especially for the weekend. Gives you a little bit of peace of mind. Hope you had a good week. I think the largest degree of conditioning in a best of 5 set is maybe letting a player get away with certain options, punishing it later. Yeah, I think I get what you mean, right? Like you notice a certain habit and you don't punish it until it's critical. I like that. I think it's a gambit, but it's a gambit that can make sense given the flow of a match. Like, in a lot of cases, like another way to look at that gambit is to say, okay, do I need this to win? Right? Let's say you notice that they're always normal get-upping and you're letting them normal get up and then you corner them. And then your corner pressure is not that scary. So they're like, okay, I'm getting away with normal get up. Can you win? Can you get to a point where, where you're winning without needing to punish that? Then you can let it go. But if you need those punishes to win, then you should be punishing it. And that's a very, very hard thing to think about, especially in the moment. Like, do I need this to win? And generally the answer is, well, yes. Generally the answer is like every advantage that you can have, you probably should have. And if not, then it probably doesn't matter whether you abuse it or not, right? So you're giving up a little bit of general strength for a single moment of extreme strength, but that moment might not come. That moment might be, might change. Your opponent could, change their course at exactly that moment, etc., etc. So like it's a gambit to let someone get away with the same things for a long amount of time. I will rather get a down smash again. Fiendish, come on, man. My first 2 F smashes in a row are baits. The third is to intercept the punish attempt. The 4th is walling, and the 5th is the real. The 5th is the actual read. Okay, let's see. This is good positioning by Dabuz. I like this positioning a lot. This is really good positioning. Okay. No iron. Would you say I often get fucked up trying to save reads for later? Yeah, dude. That's why you shouldn't. Would say it's less conditioning and more controlling space in such a way that you maximize reward and minimize risk. Depends entirely on the context. I think conditioning is less applicable to Smash compared to other fighting. Yes, for sure. Fighting games, like traditional fighters, are way more linear and in turn are a lot easier to like hard condition someone in because the options are so limited that like you can actually start conditioning them. So I agree. What's up, Sunstrike? How you doing? Okay. The Buzz is kind of playing really well in this game. Dang, that's a strong start. Sheesh. It is a hard thing to really understand, Anki. I understand. Okay. Again, he's landing from these full hops. That should really not happen. Here's the thing, right? I'll give you guys a little bit of intel against Rosalina. This is an important thing. Look at her landing lag on her moves, right? Nair, 8 frames, pretty solid. Fair, 16, horrible. Back air, 10, kind of bad. Up air, 11, not really applicable as a landing move. And down air is often 12 frames, still a little bit laggy, often a little bit less applicable. Frame 17 as well. It's just slow, right? Her best landing move is Nair, which is very limited in range. And the other thing that you got to keep in mind is, like, let's say we have a stage, right? And Rosalina is landing. Like, let's say for Roy, if Roy does a Nair at this height, then the second hit will not be perfectly safe, but it won't be that unsafe, right? Instead of -3, it might be like -5, which is still fine. But for Rosalina, the difference between this height and like the final frame is not just a 2-frame difference. It's more of like a 10+ frame difference. So for Rosalina, her landing mix-ups are just like generally subpar. I'm scrolling up so it's a little bit easier to see. The difference between this distance for Rosalina is so much bigger that her time mix-ups are much more subtle, which in turn makes it easier to cover, right? Because she either does it high or low. Whereas for Roy, the entire in-between area can count as low, which is obviously like crazy good. So versus Rosalina and other floaties, you got to make use of this and kind of like force them to make guesses here, which you can then wait out and beat, or you go for aggressive coverage, which is generally like really good risk reward. Because again, let's say you contest her high and she tries to stop you with an aerial or an air dodge, she has to land for another, again, like 10+ frames, which is a long ass time. So you can abuse that, right? If they swing early, you can definitely abuse it. There are other characters that suffer from this, like Lucina, but then she has like a really good nair to cover it up, or like a Shulk who has arts and like a good nair to cover it up, or like a lot of range. Rosalina doesn't have a lot of those options. So I'm really not enjoying the juggle game from Acola here. I'm great. I got bow, so I can die happy. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. I had a good day. I played some Plate Up for the first time, which was fun. It's a good game. Okay. Minecart, of course. Oh. If the Buzz just like learns how to play around Minecart better, he would fucking destroy Steve's. Like the amount of times he gets hit by Minecart is not, that's not okay. Okay. In the air again, no pressure. Good combo. Beats the minecart. That was smart by Acola using the block to mix him up. And again gets hit by the minecart. Yeah, I enjoy the Buzz's positioning in neutral a lot more. Still, his advantage states are not like super clean, but that's fine. Like at the end of the day, the reason why minecart spam works is because it's so hard to consistently punish, which is what we're seeing here. But his neutral positioning is a lot better. Basically, like this is the thing, right? Steve he can cover this decently well because his dash check and dash grab are a decent mix up. He can cover this space decently well too. But like this area is very hard for him to cover. And this is where the Buzz is like jumping, which is good. And then he like jumps in and drifts back out as well, which is also really good. The issue is if you see the Buzz jump here, you throw a minecart at his feet, he has to double jump. Right, that's like the main thing that I want to see more from Acola in this matchup is making use of that specific bait. Outside of that, like I get that you're not mining a lot because Luma shots and just like Luma's existence can be very hard to deal with in this matchup and make it hard to actually find times to mine, which I think is fair enough. Not getting hit that kills them. That's true. That's true. Oh my goodness, what was that? Okay. Minecart doesn't get punished. It's fine. Dude, look at his materials. Holy moly. Dude, he's just out. He's just all rails. Acola might think this stage is good for him, but I think like low key, the way he uses minecart makes it a lot worse. Like he should be deliberately not letting minecart slide. Because look at the risk on that. Holy moly. Now he dies because he has no resources to rely on. All because he lets the minecart rip so long, which I think, like, I get why. But, like, geez, man. Again, it's like, oh, maybe it's... Well, it's also just, like, objective decision making, right? What's the go-to counterplay for minecart? You stay at this distance and then you react. And if you realize that you cannot react, which is fine, like the Buzz in this moment, you just let it go like this. And then you try to position well to catch the landing like that. That's the proper counterplay for minecart. You just got to stay at the right distance and then react to it because it is very slow. Like it's like frame 18, which is just like the startup, right? And then it also takes a while for him to get to you. minecart is frame 18. Our reaction time is about frame 20, right? So usually you have enough time to at least react and make sure you don't get hit. But then you can also, like, if you're jumping, you can like you can do a landing aerial, which is often good enough to just hit Steve out of the minecart. Acola's material management in general wasn't that great this tournament. I agree, but it's never been his forte. I never enjoyed Acola's resource management. You don't want to be right under Steve. No, never. You always want to have a decent distance. Like, treat Steve as like a Shoto in the sense that like he has this bubble around him that like if you're in there, you lose. You've already lost the neutral if he's in that range because he has up tilt, right? Steve Shotos have down tilt. So if you're in that bubble, you lose. If you're out, like if you're too far away, you also lose because he gets material. So what's left is like this middle zone where luckily you can both react to minecart as well as be close enough to pressure him with burst range without necessarily having to commit to the burst range. And then you rely on movement feints and mix-ups to basically, bait him to do things, stop him if he's mining, etc., etc. Yeah, really solid play from Dabuz in this game. I think in game 4, maybe they were both just a little bit tired, which I imagine like playing against Steve is very, very exhausting, especially like positioning yourself for minecart correctly every single time. But Dabuz did pretty well. I like how he was playing game 1. Maybe we should have looked at that one first because now it sounds like I'm a super Debbie Downer. Let's move on. Spargo. Hope you enjoyed the analysis. I hope I wasn't too harsh on Dabuz. I think he played pretty well. Obviously, beating Acola is super amazing. If you learned something, if you thought that was interesting, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It's good for the algorithm. And today's fun fact is interpolation. Did you know that all the hitboxes in Ultimate are interpolated, which means that they will draw in between the frames that they were at previously, which means that some moves, like for example Shulk's forward tilt, which has a second frame that seems to be entirely lost in the Z-axis, actually is active at the same place for 2 frames straight because it gets interpolated, as you can see in the Pyra hitboxes on Ultimate Frame Data. Anyway, guys, hope that was enjoyable. Look forward to more content coming soon. And for now, of course, as always, stay smart.